Welcome, everyone, to the Three Grandmas podcast. Today, we'll be doing a scene from the movie.
What's the movie?
Our
And
greatness will be measured.
Listen,
Hold on.
Take two.
everyone take a breath. Let's take 2 seconds, and then we're just going to say action, and we're going to begin the scene.
Okay.
And action.
Our greatness will be measured by our response to adversity. Now, David's title match against Ric Flair at Parade of Champions is a moment of a lifetime. We still have a chance to bring the World Heavyweight Championship home if one of you will step up and wrestle in his place. Everything we've worked for in the ring is riding on this moment.
I'll do it. I can do it, Dad.
I could do it too.
Carrie, I'll do it.
I'm ready, Dad. I want it.
You don't have to. It's my mess.
No, I deserve it too.
Boys, it's a tough decision. Now, you're the oldest, Kev, but Carrie's been getting the most heat lately. I'm going to flip a coin. It's the only fair way to decide. Heads for Carrie, tails for Kevin. Pew!
And cut. Well done, boys.
Good job, everybody. Good
How
job.
do we feel about that?
Good job. That was
Was that
magical.
a performance of a
love it.
lifetime?
I mean,
So
we're just getting our
if-
feet wet.
If you couldn't guess, the film that we're going to be talking about today is The Iron Claw
Mhm.
from last year, 2023.
Mhm.
Time, why did you pick this film?
So I picked. Wait, what? Ah, shit! It's the claw. It's the Iron Claw, which is what we are reviewing today. Don't laugh. Don't laugh. That was funny. That's what
All
we're
right,
reviewing.
You
Listen,
had them
we're-
set up there that whole time.
We're stretching
I
out.
did.
Where'd that come
did.
from?
We're
That
Who
was,
stretching out.
knows? Who knows? Who
That
knows?
was-
Creative.
Very good, very good. I kind of
Love it.
ruined it, didn't I? I said,
You did. That's fine. That's
I
fine.
said,
Thank you, Flame Princess, for hitting the shit out
Tell
of
me
me.
about the Von Erichs. Please tell me about the
Yes.
Von Erich.
I picked
she
this
was
movie
waiting
because
there,
yeah. So I picked this movie because I'm a huge wrestling fan, and it's been highly
You are?
recommended.
You like wrestling? I didn't know that.
Huge.
No way.
Do you like
Really?
baseball?
I love baseball, and wrestling.
That's crazy. Okay.
Yeah.
I wouldn't
What
have
if we
picked that.
combine the two?
Ooh, I like that.
Mm-hmm,
They've done that. Kind of.
I also recommended to this.
Yeah,
to you,
he
Tom.
recommended me this a while ago to watch it, so I thought this would be a good opportunity to finally actually sit down and watch it. And yeah, that was it. And the Von Erichs are a very famous wrestling family. There is a ton of famous wrestling families in wrestling in general. So
Yeah.
this was a cool thing that's put out there. So I was happy to watch it with you guys.
The
I
Von Erichs
saw
are probably
this-
the most.
Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, that's okay. That's okay. The Von Erichs are probably the most tragic story in wrestling. I'd
Yeah,
imagine. Yeah.
yeah.
I saw
But-
this story in the behind. There was a Vice documentary called
Oh, Beyond
Behind
the Ring.
the Ring,
Or
Beyond the Ring,
Dark
right?
Side of the Ring.
Dark Side of the Ring,
Yes.
which is an epic,
Fantastic.
wonderful documentary, and it's just an amazing story of tragedy and perseverance and extraordinary athletes. Man, these guys are just cooking people, and
Yeah.
regardless if it's a show or not, the physical fitness and just the ring moves that they can do, and there's nothing fake about hitting the fucking rope like that.
And
No,
Constantly.
absolutely not.
The movie is very tragic and sad before we get into it, but it also left a lot more tragic and sadness out of
Yeah.
the movie. There's
Yeah,
a lot
and-
more.
And the reason they did that is because the movie would be too unbelievable if they,
Yeah.
if they kept it just go on for too long.
If
They
you
just
didn't
keep
say this
beating
is
you
based
over
on
the
a
head.
true story, I could see you not believing it. Like, oh, this is fuck.
There's
It's
no
just a
way
Hollywood
this
movie.
happened.
But
Yeah.
no, it's legit happened.
And not just
Credit-
that, it's worse. The real story is worse than the
Much
movie
worse,
presents
yeah.
it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, credit the
Um,
director though. The director captured the time period perfectly.
Yeah.
I wasn't familiar
Yeah.
with this director, and in fact, looking at his other work, I don't know if I've ever seen another film he's made. Although there's a lot of
Sean
good ones.
Durkin.
Yeah, you wanna talk
He's
about
only
Sean
made
Durkin?
three.
He
He's
was a
only
writer
made
and
three
director?
films. A writer and
Okay.
director, yeah.
Okay.
So he made Martha. This is Sean Durkin. He made Martha, Marcy, May, Marlene, and The Nest. 2 films I haven't seen. He's a writer director.
Flame just saw the Marcy one, whatever. She thought it was good.
Oh yeah.
She enjoyed
Is
it,
it
yeah.
good? Is
Yeah,
it
she enjoyed that one.
similar sort of style? Do we know?
I don't think it is. Yeah,
Okay.
it's
Totally different.
Yeah.
What I really love about this film is, like, I'm not a wrestling guy. I'd never heard of the Von Erichs. I didn't know anything about their story. And for a while, you know, I've always understood wrestling. Like, I'm not one of those, wrestling isn't real. Oh, it's just, you know, it's all fake. But I've always understood that wrestling is a TV show about wrestling. It's a scripted TV show about wrestling with, like, real athletes. Like, the athletes, the stuff that they do is obviously very demanding, and they have to put a lot of work into it, as well as the characters that they portray. They have to put a lot of work into that as well. Like, that takes acting prowess as well. And what I really liked about this film is how it breaks down how it works. Like, I really like the way that Zac Efron's character, Kevin Von Erich, like, explains how it works to his girlfriend.
To his girlfriend.
Lily James.
I stood up and applauded.
Great.
I was like, that is perfect.
The way he explains it is just absolutely perfect. And I got it immediately. Even though I kind of understood how it worked, but like, I feel like the movie gave me a new kind of insight into how,
because the Von Erichs are running a family business out of Texas at that time, right?
Correct.
Is it the AAW? What's the league? Do you remember?
No, it's the WCWW, I think.
Okay.
Yes.
So you can see how the family's fortunes rise and fall with the popularity of the other, you know, leagues that are competing, and then they talk about the rise of WWE, and then, you know, there's portions where they're forced to sell at different periods of time, and I think it's very cozy, for lack of a better words. I love Lily Allen. Is that her name?
Yes.
I mean, I just love
Lily
the family.
James.
Lily James. I mean, she's amazing in this movie.
Yeah,
just absolutely
fantastic.
110% supportive the whole time, and I just think they really pulled. They could have really made a bad movie, and but this is not a bad movie. This might be one of the best sports movies I've ever seen in my life. It's really good because it doesn't. I mean, there's a lot of nasty stuff that they leave out, but they show a lot of the stuff too, like. When one of the boys, you know, are we going to talk about spoilers? Because we kind of have to talk about. Plot.
It's a real life event. So
So like when the kid loses his leg, he loses his foot, right, and then they show him getting up in the morning, and he's not taking the pills, he's snorting the pills, right? I mean, and they don't have to do 1,000 scenes of that. Like in a lot of movies, they would have done 100 million scenes of the toll it takes on your body and the things that self-medicating people have to do to persist, especially when, you know, they don't probably have the time to go see a doctor or, you know, during that period. So, you know, it's amazing to see they're trying to work through all the tragedy constantly, and they're just trying to push through, and it doesn't seem like they ever deal with any of it, and it always comes to a head for them individually in this film.
Can we talk about the cast first?
Sure.
Because I feel like there's at least 2 Oscar snubs in this film, particularly
Snubs?
Zac Efron. Snubs, yeah. They weren't nominated for anything at the Oscars.
Did that pass already? The little what the time frame this would have fit in?
Yeah.
Oh, it was last year?
It was
usually
last
February.
year's.
February.
So for sure, I think Zac Efron should have been a shoo-in, and Holt McCallany as the father as well. Yeah, a nomination at least.
Fritz.
Yeah. Oh my
Fritz.
god.
When they open the movie and he's doing his wrestling. And he's just fully sending the character as the heel, and he's just amazing. What an amazing performance! I remember that guy from the Netflix show Mindhunter. Is that the one about the serial killers where he plays the cop? Have you guys seen that one?
I haven't seen it. I know it's David Fincher's TV series.
It's a fun show. It's a good show, and he's good in that, and he's really good in that. I mean, he just takes you right back to the 50s.
And he embodies that, like that, you know, that really toxic masculine father figure role,
Yeah.
the patriarch of the family. The way that
Mhm.
he's able to convince, his discus, like Olympic discus,
Mhm.
son prodigy into just
Mhm.
like dropping it and getting into wrestling is,
Yeah, right, because that's
and
1980. That's
yeah,
1980 when the United
Yeah.
States boycotted the Moscow Olympics, and so he couldn't
correct.
go. But it's not like, oh, do you want to try wrestling? It's like, all right, you're going to be a wrestler now.
No,
This is your
Then
job.
he,
It's,
but he
it's like science
prefaces it by
fiction.
saying, "I don't want any of my kids to be wrestlers," and they're all wrestlers.
so it's by
Yeah,
the
because
end,
there's no
yeah,
choice. There's no flexibility. I mean, he's
Mhm.
not a cruel father. He's not like abusive directly, but he's not resilient. He's not flexible, and that creates a environment
yeah.
where they
I mean,
feel like they're forced into things, and that's not cool.
he's violent in the sense like that he imposes this rule of law in his
Right.
family. Like his wife is scared to speak against him.
I mean, but he's
even
not
if
beating
it's
them. He's not beating
yeah,
them. You know, he's not
no.
drinking. He's not. You know what I'm saying? He's not. It's just not
But
like.
he's indirectly beating them. Like
Right, but it's not the sort of
yeah,
verbal abuse, like the typical sort of abuse. It's more psychological. It's more
Yeah.
about control and authority, and he's creating an institution. He's creating a wrestling family, and the only way you do that is with that sort of. But the boys have to buy into it too, and there's 4 of them,
Yeah.
and at some point they could talk to one another and say, "Listen, I'm not going to do this anymore." But
yeah,
it's just so much fear that they have. And no matter how strong and big they get, they still are little boys in their brain, which is interesting.
Like, and the funny thing is the film, like his character is such a shotgun blast from the outset. Like at the start, you're like, maybe he'll be a good dad, and then immediately at the breakfast table, he's like, okay, you're my favorite, you're my second, and then it's you. Like he lays it out straight away.
Down. You can go up
Yeah,
and
you
down.
can move
There's
up
no
and down.
position.
Yeah, and he just creates this hierarchy in his family that they all clamor for, and it's just
but the boys are happy though. Right in the beginning, they're all it's all floating down the river.
They're not happy though.
Yeah, but they're just happy.
They're happy together, but they're
they
not.
like the
They're happy to be brothers.
Until the problem. Yeah, they're happy to be brothers. They're happy that they're fit. They're happy that they're just doing good old boy
they're
stuff.
They're not fit. They're huge.
They're enormous.
Zac Efron is gigantic.
I don't know what they gave Zac Efron, but he's bigger than all the other boys in this.
Oh my god, is he enormous? He's just like
Carrie's the one. Right, Kevin is the oldest, and he's the one who should be taking all the shots at the title. But Carrie is much more eloquent and much more charismatic, right? And so there's a scene in this film where they're having a big fight. I think it's not the fight against Ric Flair. Yeah, it is the fight against Ric Flair, right? It's the title shot, and then Carrie comes into the ring and steals the mic from Kevin, and that creates
no, that was way early. That was way early.
That was the other brother.
Yeah, that was
David.
David, yeah.
And then David gets smoked.
He was fighting Harley Race. That's what it was. He was fighting Harley Race.
Exactly. Yeah. All right. Thank you for clarifying.
Yes.
But I mean, it's just an interesting to show that no, even though they're brothers, they all have certain talents and weaknesses and pluses, and there's still rivalry there because they're not really mad at each other, but you can tell, they're like, "Why did you take the mic? Why'd you take the mic from me?"
Yeah. Well, he thought he was helping because
it made him look weak, though.
Yeah, because he doesn't speak well. He wasn't someone who spoke well, right?
Well, not just that, but like Kevin had just been dropped on the floor on his back, so he could barely speak. He was completely winded.
He was just going to call out Harley Race though and tell him for a match or whatever, and then he took the thing from him.
Yeah. And I don't know if that was I can't tell if that was him trying to steal his thunder, or if he just thought he was helping.
No, I think he was just trying to help. I really don't think he's just being himself, right?
Yeah,
and that's sometimes it gets you in a lot of trouble. I think the actors who played Harley Reese and Ric Flair were amazing too.
No, I thought they were great. No, oh, you don't like?
I mean, they were. I mean, I just thought it was. I thought they did a nice job.
Well, I don't know anything.
Harley Race was fine. Ric Flair was the worst.
Why?
I don't know anything about
like Ric Flair. That was so embarrassing.
Well, I mean, it's more about the style, though. It's not a really. You're never going to get someone who looks
didn't even
like
fit
Ric
him.
Flair.
Didn't even.
But
he sounded like
he's playing the heel, right?
Yeah, but it's like, hey, we need you to do an impression of Ric Flair, like cut a promo, and then he watched
Mm-hmm.
an impression of Dusty Rhodes, a different wrestler, and then he
Mm.
came and he goes, okay, so I'm gonna do this, and he goes,
Wow.
that's not Ric Flair, it's Dusty Rhodes, and
Is
he's like,
that is that how far off it was?
it's what he sounds just like his mannerisms, and like he gives like a little lisp, like, hey baby, what's going on, girl? Like that. That's Dusty Rhodes. That's
right.
I don't
Dusty
remember
Rhodes
Okay.
that.
talks. So he was like lisping, and like the way he was talking, I go, that is not Ric Flair. Like
I
he
know.
That's
looks like
interesting.
him. And
They
that's
probably
fine, but
couldn't find anyone who could perform the wrestling moves and do Ric Flair. You know,
Well, I haven't seen anything of Ric
yeah, it
Flair in my
was.
life, so
And
I
I have
had
to
no
watch some Ric
idea.
Flair tonight.
But I was watching it, and it worked for the movie. I
Oh,
felt
JC,
like.
you have
like,
to watch
Yeah.
Ric Flair.
yeah.
You have to watch Ric Flair. Ric Flair is
He's a
amazing.
psychopath.
Ric Flair's
Yeah.
the goat, bro. He's so
So-
funny. Watch
and-
his promos. You'll love it.
So that was something that I took issue with. Obviously, is that the Ric Flair was completely wrong, but the promo he cut also is something he really did, and it was the movie version was awful. The actual
okay.
promo that he actually cuts in real life is 1,000 times better. It fits the movie thematically way better, and I don't understand why they didn't use it.
That's interesting.
That's interesting.
It's
yeah.
crazy. Yeah,
I
'cause
had no idea.
because he
I have
he
no
referenced
idea.
because he fights Kevin later in the movie, and he references how like you had one big night a long time ago, and now it's all
Mhm.
coming to a head right here. He goes, I'm the man, and stuff like that. It was perfect. But yeah, I don't know why they
Yeah.
didn't do that.
But do you
yeah.
They
understand
did a
at the time
different
how
thing.
like the general audience who doesn't know Ric Flair that they probably not going to be put off by that
I
because they
understand
don't
that.
have context.
Just put a little more effort. A little more
Yeah.
effort.
I
Because I
understand.
watched it and I was like, he seems really magnetic. He seems
I
really
believe
energetic.
him.
Obviously, he's playing a different character.
Yeah, you don't know Ric Flair is though. So
He's,
that's what
Yeah,
he's making
yeah,
his own. He
exactly.
almost made his own character essentially. Then
Mhm.
right?
yeah.
It was just confusing as a wrestling fan going, that sounds nothing like Ric Flair, and it's a completely different person. It was weird.
Which is weird
Really?
because the rest of the film seems so accurate.
So
to,
authentic.
Like, that's what I'm saying. Everything else was fine. Harley Race, perfect. Everything
Yeah,
else,
he was good.
perfect. I didn't get it.
They found somebody with one of those 1981 bodies. Remember,
Mm-hmm.
like in wrestling, it's like not everyone looked like was in perfect shape, right? And
Yeah.
it was just, like rough. But
And-
yeah, he was good.
Also, another like an underrated thing about this film is the music. I felt like the song that they wrote for Mike Von Erich was just beautiful. I like after the film, I found myself.
It's not a real song, right? They wrote it for the movie.
No, they wrote it for the movie.
Okay.
Yeah. But he was a musician. But
Yeah, he was great because he's the youngest one, right? And he's like autistic, and he's not really into wrestling, and they kind of.
Well, he's not
like
autistic. He's not autistic.
Artistic.
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 ART.
okay.
I would not say that on this stream.
Okay,
That's
I thought
crazy.
you were.
Jesus, JC.
No. I thought you were referring to. No, I thought you were
He was
referring to
autistic
later.
after the injury. No, when he got hit.
That's
by
what I
the
meant.
head.
Yeah, after the injury. I thought that's what you were referring
No,
to.
no.
I
I'm
didn't know
saying
you
because
said
he was
artistic.
the guitar guy, and they
He's a music
beat him
guy.
up
Yeah. He played all the
band
instruments.
practice.
Yeah.
Right, and is he the one who introduced? They had that great montage with Rush's
Rush?
Tom Sawyer playing.
Yeah,
They're
it was
showing
so
the parents
cool.
leaving. The parents are going, pulling out of the driveway, and he's just cranking it, and and then they're lifting weights. And I'm like, oh, whoa, what's that? And then it's a great montage.
Yeah,
I think that's if I wanted to give a clip of that film, to
Be that
I would
one,
just make
yeah.
that the trailer.
Mhm,
I would just
mhm.
show that as the trailer and not give any of the sad stuff or the context. And just this is the vibe. It's a beautiful, one of the great montages I've seen in sports films, which sports films are famous for that sort of stuff. But it just fit the time period because that album came out at that exact time. So you could feel that it was fresh to them, and it was very fresh. As far as rock and roll goes to everybody.
Yeah,
it's an epic song.
Yeah,
so I loved it.
I really liked the sort of contrast between the dad, what was his name, Fritz,
Fritz, yeah.
and Kevin Von Erich. Like basically at every single point in the film, Kevin Von Erich has the right position on everything. At the start, he goes to his mom and he's like, "Hey, you should tell Dad that he should stop going so hard on Mike." And she's obviously like, "No, that's something that you guys have to sort out. I'm not going to be a part of it." And then later on, before, I think, is it David's wedding, or is it's David's wedding, right?
Yes. Yep. Yes.
It's David's wedding.
David doesn't get married.
Or is
we're
it
talking about
Kevin's wedding?
Kevin's wedding.
It must be
Yes.
Kevin's wedding, and he's
David
talking.
dies early in the film. Is that
Yeah.
correct?
David dies right for Kevin's wedding.
That's why I
Yeah,
get
and he's-
confused.
And he's
'Cause there's
talking to him,
four,
and
right?
like he's throwing up blood into the
Oh my god, a little bit of
into
blood.
the basin.
He's
Yeah.
filling the toilet with blood, and they're chatting.
Yeah.
Like, I'm taking you to the doctor. I don't give a fuck what you say. If
Yeah,
that happens,
and
my brother.
Kevin's like, you shouldn't do this tour in Tokyo. You shouldn't do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, he doesn't try to stop him, though.
because no. But like that's the thing is he doesn't
He
try
doesn't
and
wanna deal
stop
with
him
Fritz.
because he's
'Cause Fritz
he's
would have a shit
respectful
fit.
of their decision.
Mhm.
Yeah, exactly, and it's always Fritz's fault. Like every single time, the reason why they die is because of him. Is because of his, his power structure that he's created in this family. And every single time, it's Kevin that had the correct position, and just no one listened to him because of this environment that.
Well, I mean, listen, you got to nut up. You have to. I mean,
he did everything.
I mean, there's already
Within
2
his
dead
power.
bodies at that point, right? There's already.
Yeah.
At some point, you're gonna have to say, "Well, listen, you have to take the reins." And at the very end, right? They're confronting each other with who to blame about it, and they're still blaming one another, right?
Well, I think he had every right to blame his father for.
Oh,
for
he's
all.
definitely more responsible.
Especially for Carrie at the very end.
Yeah.
Oh God, right?
He didn't give a shit at all.
Just because the business is not good for your health. No matter that period of time, there's really no healthful way to tour the road and be a professional wrestler, right?
Yeah.
Because they're not, they're taking whatever pills they can get. They're drinking, and they're not, they're strong, but you're hitting your spine. You have all kinds of back problems, and that just compounds. And you can see the tension, right, when he gives his father that 357 Magnum for Christmas, right? And he gets in his face. He's like, "Why come you're not gonna?" You can see that that's like latent. That's latent tension. That's not about the gun. That's about how he was raised. You know, he's confronting his father not about that particular issue in front of them, but all the issues. He's trying to buck up to him, right?
I mean,
Fritz handles that pretty
took
well.
him out of doing his dream, like his dream was to be a discus thrower, an Olympic discus thrower. Like he could have gone back to the Olympics 4 years later, but
I mean, sure.
no, his father
it's just
took
like,
him out of that.
Anyone who's forced, right? When you feel forced, it's a lot of resentment.
The wrestling back then too was way different because back then it was territories, so you didn't have their company wasn't global. Even the U.S. It was a small segment of the United
local
States.
TV, right? Just Texas.
So it was a bunch
of different ones.
So
right?
it was a big deal when like they kept bringing we have the champion coming over, like NWA, like you have Harley Race, you have Ric Flair. Those are big guys. You don't see them on TV every week. So to have them on something that where they could was a big deal. So that's why when they sent them out on tour, I'm sure the tours weren't like crazy long because they're just in a little mini territory. But it became a bigger deal,
thing, right? Because they have to make it in Japan to get a title shot, right?
Well, a lot of wrestlers went to Japan too. 'Cause at the very beginning, they showed when Kevin first started wrestling, he wrestled 2 guys. One was Bruiser Brody. He was like a big thing in Japan, so he like cut his teeth over there, and he was that dude's crazy person.
Yeah,
he was a good wrestler,
big time. Yeah. How did you feel about how they presented the actual wrestling matches, Time? Did you feel like it was... No, really?
There were some scenes that I thought worked pretty well, but there were a lot that I really just was like, this person doesn't either know what wrestling is or just doesn't know how to shoot it.
The director, you mean?
The director, yeah. When they had like the kind of the wide shots, it looked fine. But then there was a scene where I think when he wrestled Ric Flair, when Kevin wrestled him, Ric Flair hit the guy in the corner, Kevin I think it was, and then he walked away and he did his little strut that he does. And when he did the strut, the camera zoomed in from his foot up to like his tights and then like up to like his hair, and it was a weird framing job. And it's like by that point the strut was already over. He just turned around and it was just like it was weird.
Okay.
But I would say like maybe half the wrestling that we actually got was decent, and the rest of it was just weird.
Yeah.
I mean,
angles.
it's tough, right? Because you want to hire actors that can
Mhm.
act, but then you also need them to wrestle, and it's probably hard to find that Venn diagram perfectly.
Oh,
And
there's
also,
another scene.
they're
I'm sorry, go ahead.
filming it to shoot for film and not for
Right.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah. There was another
Yeah.
scene.
Because WWE is live, like you can't
Right.
really,
Yeah.
yeah,
Well,
you can't
yeah,
really
it
do all
became
those
live, yeah, it
close
wasn't live,
angles
yeah.
and stuff.
There was another scene that it's actually like I don't want to say like it's not a deep cut, but like if you know wrestling, you know what happens. The Von Erichs, after they started dropping like flies apparently. I think it was right after Kerry got hurt or his foot, so Kevin had to go out there by himself. They decided, hey, we're gonna have a long lost cousin. He's gonna join the fray. And he's it's Lance Von Erich.
That.
Yeah,
Like Brady
Yeah,
Bunch.
I read about that. Yeah.
So
When they
Yeah.
brought
they
in,
showed a scene of him
Nephew.
wrestling, but the scene is like very it's very close shot up. But I think it's like he just happens to be in the scene, but it's mostly focused on Zac Efron's character, frustrated that he's not getting a tag, and he's like, "This isn't working for me." But the fun fact about that is that wrestler that's portraying Lance Von Erich is current AEW wrestler Maxwell Jacob Friedman, who was one of the executive producers of this film.
Of the film.
So
Okay.
That was pretty
So
cool.
Lance
did
Von
put it
Erich.
together.
Yeah, but Lance Von Erich, he wasn't a Von Erich. He's just some other guy.
Just a random dude. They here put a blonde wig on and get in there. Yeah,
I love that. That's just like that's mythology. That's
like, well, he needs somebody. He can't be with the non Von Erich,
Yeah, because one of them had already died, right?
Yeah.
But there was an extra Von Erich that, like an actual Von Erich, that
Chris,
isn't in the film yet, right? Like,
Chris Von Erich. Yeah.
Like he just isn't in the film.
Yeah, he killed himself, I guess.
How many of them killed themselves?
The same way that
3.
Kerry did.
Oh my God, what's going on?
Yeah,
that's a lot.
Do we find out what happened to the young one, the boy?
But apparently he electrocuted and drowned.
Oh my God!
I don't know how that happened.
What the fuck? Dude, Fritz is killing these people. Has anyone investigated Fritz?
Kinda.
Worst dad of all time.
He might
for
just
sure.
be capping people.
Did you? So I actually really liked it, but did you find? Because I've read online, like people found the ending where all the brothers are in heaven and they're hugging and stuff. Like a lot of people found that very sappy and like melodramatic. But I don't know. Movie. I felt like I felt like the film was that sort of.
Yeah, because it's him thinking about them in heaven. It's him. Yeah. You get a peek in his brain. It's not actual. It's not an actual. It's like
Well,
I had read that a lot of people were like super emotional about that scene, and I get it.
Yeah,
that was a big fucking family in Texas during that period, right? Look at the funeral. Look at all the funeral.
The funeral. Yeah, that was crazy.
In line to see them, they were huge, right?
Yeah. And the mother as well. I thought the mother did a really great job in that scene where she, is that her name? Maura Tierney.
Maura Tierney from. She's a news radio. She was on news radio.
Oh yeah, she was. Yeah, that's right.
She was the lead.
She couldn't put the dress on. Oh my God, it destroyed me.
That was something that I had thought about, like after like the second death. I'm like, how many more times are you gonna have to ask this woman to put that same dress on?
Yeah.
And then that scene comes up, and I was like, damn.
And she does exactly that.
And
it's interesting. They have that scene where it shows the boys don't always follow the rules according to what their parents say when they go to that party, right? They're sneaking out of the house, and it's very clear that they don't want them to go. But they still do it. So there still is that rebellious spirit, or that autonomy still does live inside them. But when it comes to the family business, it's just not even thought about.
Yeah.
There was one line specifically that just crushed me. And it was the beginning I'm sorry, a little bit into the beginning, where he's talking to his girlfriend Lily James, Kevin, and she's like, "Oh, you have older brother syndrome," and he explains, about his older brother that passed away. And and like watching that, and I kind of think to myself, man, if you're a kid, how do you like rationalize like a sibling dying? Like, is it just not explained to you? Like one day they're just. Your brother's not there.
They're just not here anymore.
Yeah, and that's all I thought. Like a real quick thought. And then when he says the next line, like And one day, my brother just wasn't there to play with anymore. That fucking crushed me.
Mhm.
Yeah,
I was just like, whoa.
and the way that Zac Efron delivers it, and the way Zac Efron delivers basically every line in this film,
Zac
is
Efron was
just
fantastic in this movie.
Zac Efron
Yeah.
was very
Yeah.
good, and he did a lot of acting with his movement and his facial expressions.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I really felt that final scene between him and his kids. Like,
Oh yeah.
Oh
like,
yeah,
I can picture that scene being played at the Oscars, like the that scene they play before they
Yeah, when he's like, I'm not a brother anymore.
Yeah, yeah. He's like,
That was
did he
sad.
be your brother, Dad?
Yeah.
He's like, you shouldn't
did he
see
get
me
any
like this.
noms? Did he get like
A
a
real man doesn't.
Golden Globe nomination or anything for this?
I hope so.
I don't know. This movie wasn't even on my radar, so you know,
Yeah,
it may
Well,
have fallen under the radar for a lot of people.
I had heard from a couple of different like reviews and just like stuff I've read online prior to watching this movie about the performances, and they were saying that Jeremy Allen White, the guy that plays Carrie,
Right.
that he had like an amazing performance, and I thought he was the worst of the brothers.
Really, I thought they were
well,
all
I
good.
agree. I still thought he was great.
I believe
was fine.
Like that's the
I
bar.
believe them. I believe they were brothers. I believe that they wrestled professionally and they all lived together in a farmhouse in Texas. I believed it 110%. There's no doubt in my mind. I would testify in a court of law that that man is a professional wrestler. I don't know what they could have done better.
Zac Efron was great, and the guy that played David, I thought he was really good too.
Yeah. David was Harris Dickinson. Who, he's incredible. In this film specifically, I've seen other films that I haven't liked him in. Like, I mean, I know you like the Kingsman. The Kingsman.
He was in the movie.
He's the main dude. He's the main guy.
We're going to talk about the Kingsman right now because I'm what
the Kingsman. Yeah, he's Ray Fiennes' son in that film.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. I remember that movie.
Yeah. He was terrible in that film.
Kingsman,
but he's really good in this film.
Kingsman is a Taco Bell commercial.
Get out of here. The first Kingsman is fantastic, and you can't.
It is.
Buy a Whopper. Buy one Whopper, get one free.
They're all fantastic.
No, they're not.
All of them.
Only the first one's good.
All of them are.
Get
this ring right now, JC.
The wrestler
I will fight you on the Kingsman.
The Iron Claw is everything that the Kingsman is not. In that, it's
the Iron Claw hurts. By the way,
the Iron Claw film. I'm just saying,
I took it earlier. It still hurts. Yeah, it still hurts.
It's fan service. It's kind of a fan service, just like Kingsman is a fan service to the spy genre, especially teens that are coming up that love James Bond, but they want to be more. This is the same sort of fan service, but I just think that Kingsman compared to you could tell this movie was not put in front of a focus group and made everying down.
Neither was
we're
Kingsman.
trying to recreate a documentary.
Get out of here.
What are we talking about?
Kingsman,
what were we talking about?
Can't believe you think
Kingsman
Kingsman was a focus group. It's a Matthew Vaughn film through and through.
I don't get
it's got all of his style. Anyway,
Gap. Be better than the Gap, JC. Be better than the Gap.
But Zac Efron's performance, I really like that. Throughout the start of the film, you could just feel him holding it all in, just like pushing it down as far as he can. Especially when his wife is like, "Do you want to come?"
Oh yeah,
yeah, and he's
right.
like,
he can't come home, right? He's sleeping in the gym,
and the weight of this curse, which I want to get into curses, by the way. The weight of this curse, it didn't affect Fritz, but it was really raging inside of Kevin. Like, obviously he didn't come home. He just was like, I don't want to give it to you, which is crazy,
Yeah.
Just
each person is trying to fulfill. They're trying to fulfill the destiny of the fallen person ahead of them. Fritz didn't make it, so then David's trying to make it. Then he doesn't make it, so then the next guy has to pick up the sword. And so they're not living their own life; they're just living their life as part of a dynasty. What
was the end goal? Because in that scene we portrayed, he wanted to bring the world heavyweight title. They did.
Yeah, they did. Yeah, Kerry did. He won it.
Never ends.
But then there was just the next thing. It's just the next thing.
That's the life of a conqueror, though, right? Think about, Alexander the Great. It's never ends. You don't stop.
It's also the American dream.
Oh God.
I mean, listen,
Got
fuck
you
outta
there.
no. When you have that mentality,
It's true though.
Don't finger gun me.
to win, it's a cult of winning. It's like a cult of winning. It's just you're praying at the cult of victory, and even when they get the victory, it's not fulfilling because it's really the process of attempting to win that they're really addicted to, and also the legacy thing, and they're addicted. It's almost like
but they're not addicted to it. It's just the dad.
The whole family is because they could have walked away. They could have, but they still loved to wrestle. You could still see they had passion for it before everything went left.
Well, it seemed like
the reason why they love to wrestle is because they're together.
Yeah,
they're trying.
It seemed like Kevin was the only one that didn't really like care about winning. You know, because
he just wanted to be with.
They're doing it for the family, right? They're fighting. Yeah. They're fighting for their brothers, right? They're not fighting for themselves the whole time. They're fighting for their legacy.
There's a mismatch though. Like there's a mismatch between what the brothers want and what the father wants.
Yeah,
like the father just wants them to win. And to me, the impression I got was when a son died. To me, it felt like he was disappointed rather than like sad. Like that's the way it hit me. Is that he was like,
he tells him not to cry. He's like, "Don't cry."
He's just angry.
Don't cry.
I mean, Fritz says
he's mad that they died.
No,
so
Fritz's sadness
turned
to anger. Like, he's not allowing himself to feel sadness, so that turns into that cold anger and stuff. So that's what's going on with him. He never is dealing with it.
And the scene that we acted out at the start is a great example. Like he turns this like tragedy into, you know, what he wants. Like
he makes it about him.
It makes it about him. He twists it into the family curse and
everything's about Fritz. Everything's about Fritz in that house.
It's all about winning the next title. Like, and it's disgusting.
He doesn't even address Michael in that scene because Michael's just sitting there and he's just like, what's going on here?
Yeah, it's
he
just
didn't
football,
but
Mike,
he just didn't.
Mike is just suddenly wrestling, like, and you just, you know, they don't even need to say it. Like,
I bet Fritz was a veteran. I bet Fritz was fought in probably World War II or something because you can tell he was been conditioned. He's running a platoon there. He's not, you know. But there's a lot of warm family stuff too. I mean, it's not total. There's a lot of Go ahead.
There's one little thing that I liked, and I'm sure it was done very unintentionally, but it's 100% a wrestling trope, and it's the law of three. I'm sure it has a different name, but it's essentially if you hit the same move over and over again, on the third time it's going to backfire because that's just, you know, you're playing with fire, you're being greedy.
Pressing your luck.
So I thought it was funny that when Michael was wrestling, he hit a drop kick once, twice, and then the third drop kick is the one that messed up his shoulder. And I thought that was funny. And I was like, see,
that probably
went
was
to the well.
intentional.
Went to the well too much.
Like I didn't know about that rule of three thing, but like you saying that right now, it probably was 100% intentional.
Yeah.
Most likely.
Tell you what, falling on your shoulder, it's gonna eventually it's gonna
rapid succession separate. 3 times, and
you keep falling on your back, it's those
mats
are gonna bust.
they're not cushioned like that, you know. They're they have like maybe like an inch, if that, half an inch of like a padding on it, but it's all wood.
Did you?
No, it's nuts.
Did you lose your breath when he dropped Zac Efron on the concrete on his back?
Oh my god, bro.
Oh my god, the way they present
the first one to die.
Yeah, I couldn't, like, I was watching that and his father's just like, you should have gotten up. Like, why didn't you get up? He's like, I couldn't. I
knocked the wind out of him.
Literally couldn't. Yeah.
So you got to fight through it.
When that scene with Zac Efron,
he's like, you didn't give a shit.
He's on his comeback grind and he's going back and forth between the ropes. That was a good scene. You know what I'm saying? He's like working out and he's just running back.
It's just
and
like
forth.
a shot.
He was
right?
hitting those ropes hard too.
Yeah. Is that normal? Like, is that how hard you meant to hit him?
Yeah.
Sure.
Do you feel like he put a lot of effort into his, you know, training for? Do you know anything about the production on whether he got training by actual professional wrestlers and like what the regiment was?
I don't know that. The only thing I know that he was very if I remember it right, he was very respectful of Kevin Von Erich, and he would run stuff by him like, hey, do you think it's okay if I portray you in this way, or I said this and that? Do you think that's okay? And like he was like, you know, really wanted to make sure, you know, which
how much of it was prosthetics, and how much of it is that just Zac Efron's face now? That's my big question.
That's his face, though, isn't it?
Yeah.
He had that jaw surgery, right?
Yeah, he got an accident.
Yeah, but obviously the haircut is, that's a wig. But
He's literally chiseled now. It's crazy.
Yeah, and you look at photos of Kevin Von Erich, he doesn't look like
no.
Like Zac Efron just went over the top with it, and I don't know if he just looks like that. I mean,
the Von Erichs are huge guys. They're not small, but Zac Efron is just. I don't know. I don't know if he's still like that. I hope he is.
Did
you guys know that the Arcade Fire, the lead from the Arcade Fire, did the score for this?
I think I remember Richard Reed Parry, right?
Parry, yeah. He's yeah, that's pretty interesting.
I remember that. I mean, Arcade Fire did they also did the soundtrack for Her, which is my favorite film of all time.
I was talking about Her with Dark BMX and Taz last night, because I'm telling them ChatGPT 5, when it drops, it's literally going to put every Her in everyone's pocket. It's literally.
And then I think they're changing it, aren't they?
I know, but I'm saying they're not going to be able to control it. You're going to be able to make it whatever voice you want. I mean, if you're like into,
I'm gonna make my Lance.
Natalie Portman. Say you're into Natalie Portman, it's gonna sound like Natalie Portman. So.
Can you sound like Lance, please? Corey Lazat, can you sound like him?
No. Let's talk about some of the songs on the soundtrack, though. Don't Do Me Like That by the Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers.
Yeah.
Don't Fear the Reaper by Blue Oyster Cult. Thank God I'm a Country Boy by John Denver.
I can't stand.
Yes. You don't like John Denver?
No. The Blue Oyster Cult song. I can't stand that because that's stupid. Because of the skit. Because all I can hear is the cowbell. That's all I hear all the time now.
Which skit?
Yeah, that's
the SNL skit. You never seen that?
We need more cowbell.
No, we need more cowbell.
Christopher Walken is
I haven't seen
producer.
We're gonna show you that. I'll legit ruin that song for you.
Go to YouTube. Just go to YouTube.
It's so good, though. It's so good.
Oh man!
But yeah, the songs are really good in this movie.
This movie made twice as much as it cost to make, too. It cost $40 million. It made $80 million box office. That's even before rentals and digital and everything else. So.
Are A24 movies usually like pretty low budget?
Yes. I mean,
that's their thing.
There is a service they provide too called A24 Plus. I don't know how much it is, but you get all their movies. I recommend that to fans of film, because if you want something that's dependable and you want to see independent movies that are not big, huge blockbusters all the time, but always are going to be interesting, I strongly recommend A24.
I mean, a lot of there is both distribution and production. Like, they produce their own films, but they also distribute. So they find films that that they obviously like the quality control at that company is insane.
They do a lot of horror films too, right?
Yeah.
But they pick the right talent for their brand. They have a very specific brand. Like, you can tell when a film looks like an A24 film.
I'll search just A24 on Netflix or Amazon Prime if I'm looking for something I don't know what I want to watch. I'll just put A24 in.
And the quality control at that company is unbelievable. It's kind of like A24 has become a bit of a meme now, where people are like, "Oh, I love A24. I'm an A24 head," and then it becomes like
they earned it.
Yeah, they earned it, but also they put their people put their blinders on. And they're like, I only watch A24 films.
Oh yeah. And just because A24 put it out or distributed it doesn't mean it's going to be great. I'm sure there's a lot of bad ones too.
Yeah,
I love
their batting records, really
especially around Halloween, when you're looking for a scary thing, you don't know exactly what, and maybe you want something independent. They have a really strong, strong, library of horror films.
Yeah. When I don't really look at studios for when I want to know if a film's going to be good or not. I usually just try to stick to the directors, the talent behind the camera, and if A24 suddenly we're like, oh, we're going to release a Michael Bay film, it's
no,
that's not going to be.
That wouldn't interest you though. You wouldn't be like, oh shit. You see, you
maybe,
would.
Maybe.
I think they understand their audience.
Maybe
I don't think they would do that.
I've shot myself in the foot now.
You would. You did.
They're very good at finding people on the come up, right? Like a director or somebody's second film.
A24 film. Roman Polanski.
I mean,
He makes good movies. He's just a piece of shit.
Am I in?
I
don't know if I'm in or
He's
not.
a piece of shit.
Roman Polanski's Oliver Twist is a banger. You should watch it. It's
Yeah.
a really good film. I mean,
Didn't he
he's
make
a bad
the
guy, but
Pianist?
there's a lot of bad guys in
He
the
made
film.
The Pianist.
I like that movie. That's a good
He's a
movie.
good
Great
director,
film,
but
he's,
you know,
he's just a piece of shit, unfortunately. And
that's
what
what
and the
happens.
problem with that is his film. I watched his film Chinatown, and I imagine when people first watched it, the ending of that film meant something like quite meaningful. But like knowing the context of Roman Polanski and his obviously his view on things and what he thinks is okay or not, it completely changes the ending of Chinatown for me. It makes it much worse.
See the sequel?
Two Jakes? No.
Yeah.
I want to. That's
Don't see it.
That's
Jack.
See it?
It's
Don't.
not
I
good.
want to.
I mean, it's all
It's
right.
Jack Nicholson's only directorial effort.
Yeah,
I think.
I mean,
Really?
Yeah.
I haven't seen it in a
Yes.
long
I
time.
didn't know he did a movie. That's crazy.
Yeah, the Two Jakes. It's a sequel to Chinatown.
Maybe I need to watch it again.
I've had some people say that it's like underrated. But I like.
Yeah, I have to give it another shot.
But back to the Iron Claw.
Mm.
I also felt like what's his name? Stanley Simons, who plays Mike. His performance is devastating. Like before, when he's writing the music, and then after when he has that injury, stuff like that, where it goes from someone who's just like full of life and to someone because of his dad who isn't even able to play the guitar, right? Like he can't do the thing he loves anymore. It's just like this film just has so many moments that just break you, and it's all like
The entire time,
the entire time, and it's all set up perfectly. It's hard to fault this movie, honestly. It's just like absolutely tragic.
It is, and it's sad. The saddest part is that the only solution any of them could figure out as a group is to off themselves alone. That's one of the saddest parts.
Yeah.
They don't feel like there's any other solution, and that's because they can't wrestle anymore or whatever. They don't think, well, maybe I can just do something else. And that's part of the rigidity. That's a form of abuse. You're right.
And I do think the film somehow does an incredible job of having a hopeful ending, or an ending that's at least closure.
They all live, right. So what is the ending? Right, Kevin lives.
He got what he wanted.
Yeah. Kevin sells
all
the
his
company.
kids
He's
and their
free
kids. All the Grannies,
Yeah.
they live in one place in Hawaii, right?
on a ranch.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's
Yeah.
beautiful. So he figured it out. He figured it
And
out. Right?
he sold the family company, so he's not tied to his father anymore at all.
He did the right thing finally.
Yeah.
He broke the tragedy.
We don't.
essentially.
It broke the tragedy. Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure there's more to the story, obviously, because we don't see the whole thing. But we really only see like maybe two moments where Michael was genuinely happy. When he was practicing with his band, and then when he was playing with the band. But after that, you see him doing things he doesn't want to do. Like he's wrestling, doesn't want to do that. When he's eating with the family, they're just fucking with him, and he's just like, he's just like doesn't want to. He's just not comfortable.
He's a bit of an odd duck in the family, that's for sure. He's a little smaller frame. I mean, he's still, fit as perfect shape, but he's just not huge like Zac
He's a little
Efron.
guy.
His brothers loved him, like especially David at the beginning.
Oh yeah,
like immediately twice he's like, I forgot what the first thing he said was, but the second thing, when they picked him up from his band practice, he's like, I want to get a burger, and he's like, well, we got food in the cooler, and he's like, well, Carrie would have got me a burger, and then David's like, I'll get you a burger, baby brother. Don't worry about it. He's like, I
love
got
it.
it.
So good.
No, it reminded me of my brothers. Listen, I have two older brothers, and that sentimentality came through. It's just a vibe that you can't really explain. It's just 100% trust, and everyone knows who you are because they've seen you since you're a baby, and it's like it's just it's immaculate feeling when you're with family like that.
The scene where Kevin is basically forced by his father to announce that Mike is like he's had a brain injury, and he has to announce that Mike has to get back into the ring. Like, Oh my god!
That was
And
so
he's sitting
awkward.
there, and he could barely talk. Like he could
Right.
barely speak into the microphone. And at
I
the
thought
same
Kevin
time, he's like,
was going to interrupt and go, maybe he's not come back to the ring or something like that. But he let Michael talk, and he's like, yeah, I'll be in the ring soon. And it was shot from the side, so you can see Fritz just looming over him, just like
yeah,
The
it's just like
glowering.
awful.
yeah.
He's a
Yeah,
glowering guy, right?
You can feel his, like his box.
His flat top.
You
just see that
The
flat top from 40 yards away. That
What an asshole! I swear to God.
Mhm.
So Kevin, it's funny. Kevin's kids, they ended up being wrestlers, didn't they? His daughters and his sons.
I don't think so.
At least
Did
I
they?
think I
I
wrote
don't know anything about it.
I read about that. Hold on.
We're
You guys keep talking.
professionals. We're professionals. Don't worry.
So, Time,
Yes.
I want to recreate some of these scenes in this film with you, the wrestling scenes. How's your rope game? Can you get up on the top rope
Right
and
now?
fly? No, not when we meet again. We're in the same state.
I mean,
We
I can hit
we
hit the ropes. You know. I think I can do it.
Really? Do you think
so.
you could really get up on that top rope and jump and hit the ground and do all that stuff?
Oh, I can't take bumps. There's no way.
What do you mean you can't take bumps? You haven't
I
tried.
mean, I'm not trained. You got to do the little fall
You don't
on
have
your
to be
back.
trained. Just fall down.
The only thing I know that could save me is 99% of the wrestling moves that you take, you tuck your chin when you fall. That's the only thing I know.
Listen, all you need to do right now, you have a floor in your home, in your office there. You have a floor. Just stand up and just get your feet out from under you and fall down. You saw it in the film.
Should I do it right now? Should I do it right now?
Yeah, do it right now. Absolutely. Stand up and just let yourself fall down.
There's like a quarter inch of carpet on top of this wood floor.
Perfect.
Same thing.
For babies. No, that's more comforting than they get. You get all that extra cushion.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that's how you learn to fall too, because it's not going to be comfortable sometimes. You're going to have to find a spot on your side or your back or maybe your shoulder. But I don't know. Find a spot where you can land, over and over again.
I can confirm the third generation of Von Erichs, Ross Von Erich and Marshall Von Erich, both Kevin's sons. They became professional wrestlers.
I salute you.
And Carrie's daughter, Carrie Von Erich's daughter, Lacey Von Erich, also became a.
Why don't you know that?
Professional
wrestler. Why doesn't Time go to waste know that?
They're not wrestlers.
Why am I the genius here?
Yeah, why does he have to?
What do you mean? The pro wrestling Noah?
What do you mean you're not a wrestler?
Non-stop action wrestling?
Oh, they're nobodies. They're nobodies.
What's the name of the league? What is it?
Major League Wrestling.
It was. Sounds bad.
Yeah.
What's that about?
Total non-stop action wrestling and Major League Wrestling.
Can I get a state of play on wrestling right now? What's going on?
State of play was awful, by the way.
I mean,
it said that
a saying.
I don't know what any of this means. But they did become professional wrestlers.
Yeah, the two guys wrestled a match in Ring of Honor and AEW.
So who's big now? WWE is, of course, the big guy, right? WWE was WWF, and that's Vince McMahon and all the big shows, right? So who's number 2 and 3?
An angel of a man, Vince McMahon, yes.
Beautiful man.
Number 2 would be
who's the competitor? WWE. AEW. Okay.
Yeah, and where does that come out of?
AEW isn't really like a competitor, but yeah.
Is it on TV? Do they have weekly
WWE
shows?
kind of has a monopoly, right?
Because I know WWE's on Peacock, right? The NBC, that whole group plays all the right. And so who?
Yeah.
Do they get distribution nationally?
They're like on TBS or TNT. I can't remember which one they are, but they're one of them. Yeah.
Okay.
But
and then nobody else.
Not. I mean, there's TNA, but they're not really like big players.
Is that
but
TV?
They are someone. Yeah, they're on TV. Yeah. I don't know what channel, but they're on TV. Yeah.
Okay. You don't know which channel. It's not good.
AEW is funded by the guy that owns the Jacksonville Jaguars. So they're funded by like a billionaire. So they're fine.
He's from India, isn't he?
Yeah. Something Khan. Shad Khan.
Khan.
Yeah.
He owns a football team. I think he owns
I think so, yeah.
Wolverhampton. One. I don't know. Interesting. And so in Japan, do they watch WWE or do they have their own TV?
They have their own thing. They have a bunch of stuff over there in Japan.
But do they watch WWE? Do they accept WWE over there?
They tour over there, and they get big crowds. They're pretty huge over there. So yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, Japan has New Japan Pro Wrestling. They have Pro Wrestling Noah. They have Stardom, which are female wrestlers, Joshi wrestlers, which are crazy. Like the female wrestlers over there, they hit so goddamn hard. Yeah, they will legit punch you in the head as hard as they can. Like
and
they're
those
so
matches
good.
last a long time over there, right? Like
Some of them do, yeah.
I've heard people talk about some of these in Japan. Pro wrestling will go for like 45
for New
minutes.
Japan. Generally, their matches last like the big matches last like 40 to 50 minutes, which I think is a little too long.
It's technical stuff, though, right?
Because it's like all the time. Like it's not really like a lot of squash matches.
Do you remember? Yeah. Do you remember time I wanted to watch the one championship MMA fight 167? Do you remember when we were talking about that?
Oh yeah.
The chick that I wanted to watch, the atomweight champion, she broke her foot, so she's not even on the card. Yeah, Stamp Fairtax.
Damn.
She broke her foot training, so
That's
they've just
crazy.
canceled.
Wait a minute, her name is Stamp. Hold up, her name is Stamp
Fairtax. Yes, yeah,
okay.
she's a.
Is she like a tariff?
She's a Thai.
A tariff.
She's a Thai.
What's going on?
Did they replace her?
MMA wrestler?
Or they
sounds like
that
important legislation.
I don't know what's happening at this point.
I'm in favor of the stamp fair tax, and I'm going to fight for the stamp fair tax everywhere I go on this trip. I'm going to be talking about it because they're really taking advantage of us. I want our farmers to have the same fair tax they get stamped with.
If someone breaks their foot, do they have to give up their belt, or
in wrestling?
Like what's normally in wrestling? Yeah.
Oh yeah, if you have the title, they'll try to to extend the match, or sorry, extend like a leave. Yeah, like delay it. Yeah, so like, you can't wrestle tonight, so we'll try to keep you like a month out or whatever it is. If it's something long term, then they'll just have you give up the title.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
But
yeah.
there
That's
are
probably
ways
what she's gonna have
like,
to do.
Yeah, there are ways. Oh, she's champion.
She's champion. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
She was defending her title. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. She probably had to get it out. Yeah.
Who's the champion in WWE right now?
There's two champions. There's Cody Rhodes, and then there's
two champions.
Damian Priest. There's two champions. There's the
only one.
There's different weights, isn't there?
Damian Priest.
I mean, kind of.
I want to see you in Arlington.
Arlington. You okay? He's lightheaded.
Texas Stadium, June 24th. I'm going to see you, and I'm going to clobber you once and for all from Missouri.
There's so many different championships in all of wrestling. Like
there's Intercontinental, and there's the World Champion. Those are the only ones that matter. You know me. I'm a big champion guy. I know. Well, how do they have both have the belt?
They have what?
How does there two champs?
So the way WWE is right now, it's split into two brands, or two rosters. So you have Raw and SmackDown. So the Raw has the World Heavyweight Championship, and SmackDown has the Undisputed Championship.
So the Undisputed is clearly the champion, right? That's the top belt.
One. I mean,
that's the one I want.
Like
Undisputed.
People argue.
People argue Undisputed. And who has that?
Yeah. The Undisputed one is Cody Rhodes.
Before we get into an hour-long discussion about WWE, Pragpro.
Cody Rhodes, I want you.
Cody Rhodes.
Pragalicious, my boy.
Ooh,
yes.
Pragalicious.
Would you recommend the Iron Claw?
No, because wrestling is fake.
Hey.
It's all dumb. It's all stupid.
What the fuck?
You picked
dumb.
A stupid movie
Everything
time.
is fake. Everything is
Everything is so
you picked
bad.
a dumb movie time.
FIFA isn't real.
Stupid.
I don't like sweaty men, because that's not how I like to, you know what I'm saying?
That's how
I love this movie.
I get down.
No,
yeah.
Let me get perfectly honest with you. I think this is one of the best sports movies I've ever seen. Even if you don't like wrestling or care about it, you'll love it. It's a great movie. I give it an 83 out of 100.
Wow.
Would you put it up with Rocky and?
Oh yeah, it's probably better than Rocky 2. Rocky 1 was a banger, but
Rocky won Best Picture, by the way.
No, I love this movie. I loved it. It caught my attention from the rip and kept it the whole time. I was invested in the story. The acting was great. I love how they recreated 1980 aesthetics very accurately. Like, all of the extras and the cars and the environments and, how the high school was laid out. It was very authentic. I loved it. It was great.
Mm-hmm. Agreed. Yeah. Yeah, I'd recommend the Iron Claw as well. I thought it was great. I think it's one of the best sports movies I've seen in a long time. It reminded me a lot. But no. What I was gonna say, what's interesting is the other film you were going to pick was going to be Foxcatcher, right?
Yeah, or the wrestler.
It
Yeah.
actually,
Yeah.
it reminds me a lot of Foxcatcher. Like they're
Okay.
in
Cool.
terms of themes and the
Mhm.
way that it plays out and the central figure
Yeah.
of the story. Yeah, it's very.
That's a good one.
Mm.
That's a good one
It's
too.
very good. It's very good, and those two I feel like would make a really good double feature.
Yeah,
Okay.
make it a triple feature. Watch The Wrestler with
The Wrestler, yeah.
you know, right? He won an
Yeah.
Academy
Rourke,
Award
yeah.
for that.
Mickey
Mickey
Rourke, yeah.
Rourke. That's a triple.
Yeah.
That's a delicious triple threat.
Yeah, I'd
Mhm.
probably give this film an 80. Just a solid straight 80. I think it's good.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's strong.
Time,
Alright,
would
what
you
about you?
recommend The Iron Claw?
So I wrestled with this a lot.
Oh,
Get it?
I see what you
Get
did
it?
there.
Get it?
So you didn't like this film?
Maybe not.
From the way you discussed it, you seemed like you really liked it.
I would recommend this movie. But as far as liking it and like personally and all that stuff like that, I think talking with you guys made me appreciate it more because I was kind of conflicted. I was caught up in the middle of between it's an okay movie and it's a good movie. I'm more on
Is
the
that
good.
because you're a big wrestling fan and that held you back?
So
Or like,
I think what it comes down to is I wanted to watch a movie about wrestling
Watch the documentary.
that involved. I did.
And watch the documentary.
I did.
They're not going to recreate scene for scene.
That
It's
involved
a stylized version.
the Von Erichs, but what I actually got was a movie about a family that just happened to wrestling. So like wrestling was on the back
wrestling,
burner.
yeah. It's a family drama, yeah.
Yeah, it was definitely
tragedy.
family drama. I did enjoy it. I don't think I'd ever watch it again.
I've watched it 3 times.
Yeah,
I mean,
know.
that's crazy. I don't think watching it again is really a criteria. For me, I see a lot of movies I love that I don't want to watch again because I want to see another movie because there's so many things I haven't seen. That's the only reason why I won't watch something again.
Oh, no, I'll watch movies multiple times.
Unless it's really good and I'm just in the mood to have those sort of feelings. But yeah.
It was a good movie. I would rate it at about a 75.
Have you seen the documentary? Have you seen the
I've seen all those documentaries. Yeah, I've seen all of them.
Okay. Did you like that documentary? The way
I
they
loved
did
it, yeah.
that version?
Yeah.
Okay.
Mhm.
I'm just wondering.
Yeah.
I think people who like this movie should see the documentary and vice versa,
Do you think they should see it first
we don't add
or after?
To me, it's like how a music video represents a live band, which is not exactly, but it gives you a vibe. And that's the most important thing about a music video. It's not really showing me what it's like to see them live in concert or listen to the record. It's a third thing. And for me, that's what movies are about. Because if you want to just see the wrestling recreated, just watch the actual wrestling. Because it's all
here
in
for
video.
the drama. You're here for the
because
drama.
I'm here for and the vibe, the style. Because if they just recreated scene for scene, it's like, well, then let's just put the clips from the actual wrestling in the movie. They could have had the family drama and taken the actual wrestling and just interspliced it if they wanted to do that.
But they I think it's good to have a vision and direct the sports sections, with that visual style that you want.
And they have to make sure people get hurt. In real wrestling, they're not worried if people get hurt, but they're worried about the actors, right? They're worried Zac Efron's going to rupture a disc, right? Because that's he's insured.
I've only seen, by my count, 3 wrestling movies. This would definitely be at the bottom of the 3. So,
what are the others?
Nacho Libre and Ready to Rumble.
Oh, okay. Well, you were just talking about professional wrestling.
Yeah, professional wrestling.
Because I don't know if you count
if you look at like amateur wrestling, there's a whole bunch of movies. Yeah.
I feel like we should prepare a scene to close out the show as well.
So you want to do a beginning and end?
I mean,
I feel like we should.
We have a week.
Like we should.
We had a week to prepare, and nobody.
I know, but I'm in the podcast now.
Let's talk about it.
We should end on
do next week.
Listen,
we should end on a scene.
I don't know. We're gonna figure it out. We need a script. We need to figure out how to create scripts. If anybody in the audience knows how,
I gave you the script for this one.
Movie. Yeah, but I need all of the scenes so I can pick a different one sometime.
Do
So
you
I don't know if
know anyone who
ChatGPT
speaks Cantonese that we can?
I mean, listen, I'll make it work, Daddy. I'll just have to reframe it in an American way. I can still perform the scene in my view of it. I'll just have to alter the character. But I'm not doing broken English. I'm not doing fake Cantonese. No, we're not offending anyone here. But you know what we're gonna do? We're gonna make it fresh, and it's gonna be cool, and we're just gonna do it. We're gonna figure it out.
All right. So what's the film that we're watching next week, Pragpro?
That's a good question. Let me look it up. Dr. Yasmin's film.
Yeah,
you have it written down in the Discord?
Guest next week. We've got a guest next week.
It's
Dr.
the John
Yasmin.
Yu film.
It's going to be joining us.
John Yu or John Woo?
John Woo, W-O-O, the Hong Kong director.
When you said John Woo, I was praying that it was going to be Hard Boiled, but it's a different film that I can't remember the name of.
We're so good at this. A Better Tomorrow. And everybody, listen to me, everybody. A Better Tomorrow is free because it's on the archive.
Internet Archive, yeah.
Archive.org. A lot of John Woo films are. And there's another one that's great called The Killer. And if you want to have a double feature, I recommend matching The Killer with A Better Tomorrow. And they're both free. And it's good streaming. It's high def. It's not janky. It doesn't look like a rip or a clip or something. It's beautiful. So everyone, watch this amazing action film from Hong Kong. It's beautiful.
From the director of Mission Impossible 2.
And let's shout out Dr. Yasmin too.
Are we fans of Mission Impossible 2 in here?
I don't think I've seen the second one. I've only seen the first one.
Oh, it's not good.
Oh, it's not.
It's really bad. No,
I like. I haven't. I don't remember, but listen, everyone knows that his great works were the early works in the Hong Kong scene. And
I will say,
magic, right?
I mean, it's a terrible movie, but no one has ever looked better than Thandie Newton looks in that film. She's absolutely gorgeous in that film.
Thandie Newton is not. She's in.
She's gorgeous. She's old now.
Westworld.
She was gorgeous in
Westworld. Yeah.
Did you see Westworld?
Yes, she was in Westworld.
Yeah,
I did see Westworld. Yeah, first season.
That's a good one.
I didn't watch the rest of it, but
yeah, I didn't like season.
That first
when they
season's
left, I don't know why Westworld had such a problem keeping my interest through 3 seasons or whatever it is. It just seems like every season
it felt like it was a closed story in the first season. They shouldn't have made more. But thank you, everyone, for joining us on this.
Hold up. Let's shout out Dr. Yasmin. We got to shout out Dr. Yasmin. DRYAZMAN on Twitch. And I'm going to shout him out in the chat.
I forgot to ask you guys, do you guys believe in curses?
No.
What do you mean?
Do you?
Okay.
I believe that if you believe it, it's real. I believe that if you think you're cursed, you're cursed. Well,
I was trying to explain explain like the whole curse thing, and I was explaining to her the Billy Goat curse and the Great Bambino curse, and she doesn't believe those things.
The Great Bambino.
Great Bambino.
Listen, you get in your head about stuff.
The Babe Ruth.
Yeah.
Why isn't my shout out working? I can't. Oh,
I'm
not even a mod. I'm not a mod in my own Twitch channel. All right, make sure we shout out Dr. Yaz.
We have a question, actually, real quick. We have a question.
Oh my god!
It says, this is from Flame Princess. It says, in the movie, do you think it was an actual curse or chaos caused by generational trauma, which would be from the dad?
Chaos caused by generational trauma, very obviously.
Yeah, you're carrying it like a grudge. You're carrying.
He is the curse.
They're carrying this boulder around with them, and they're just passing it off to each another. And they're at some point they have to figure out, why am I holding this rock? It's not doing anything for me. It's making my back hurt, and they have to give away the stone. And I think that's what they do at the very end when they reform their lives in beautiful Hawaii.
Thank you, everyone, for joining the Three Grandmas podcast.
Shout out to Flame for hitting me in the head as hard as she could. Thank you.
Shout out.
She did an amazing job.
Shout out, Flame Princess.
Great job, Flame. Thank you.
Next week, we will be reviewing A Better Tomorrow by John Woo.
Hold on.
JC, we have to promote our own channels. I mean, Time Goes to Waste has a Twitch channel.
Pragpro.
Yeah.
Pragpro, would you like to...
Listen.
What is it? What?
It's
new character.
I don't know.
I want to talk about Channel 9.
Sultry voice.
Oh, God.
I'm part of a new network called Channel 9.
It's the announcement voice.
Right? And you can catch me on Twitch, PRAGPRO. You can catch me on x.com, Pragpro, and you can catch me at Channel 9 with all my other affiliates, and you know where to find that too, via Angry Scar 09.
That's very ho-hum. Prag is the newest member of Channel 9. Congratulations.
Yeah,
Pragpro.
Thank you.
Time Goes to Waste.
We have
Where
fun.
can they find you?
At Time Goes to Waste on Twitch, in Lance's chat, in Prag's chat.
Wait a minute, are you a Channel 9? Are you
I
affiliated?
am not Channel 9. I am not lucky enough to be part of.
Of course
Why are you
not.
laughing? You fucking Jesus!
Could you imagine?
Jesus.
Could you imagine me and you at the same level?
Wow.
That's crazy.
Jeez.
So
You can
cringe.
find me at CallMeMrJC. I don't stream.
Yeah.
But
What else?
I'm in Discord and
No,
I'm in
he's
Lance's
nothing.
chat.
No social media. You can find him in a chat room. What does that even mean?
We're all in the chat
What
room.
is happening? This podcast is canceled.
I met Jeffrey Rush once.
He met Jeffrey Rush once.
That's right. You saw him. You
I
didn't
met
meet him.
Jeffrey Rush.
You saw him.
I saw him once. We walked past each other outside Domino's.
I was 10 feet away from Kobe Bryant at Space Mountain.
He's part of the Jeffrey Rush Network now. So that's
the Jeffrey Rush Network?
Jeffrey Rush Network.
Yeah, you should
No way.
Yeah, I would put that on my Twitch page. I'd say Jeffrey Rush all day. Me and Jeffrey Rush.
He was my friend's landlord. True story.
Whoa.
Was he really?
Wow.
Yeah,
I want to hear more about Jeffrey.
So he paid rent to Jeffrey Rush.
Correct.
That's funny. That's funny.
Anyway, thank you everyone for joining.
Now
we're logging off. We're logging off.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you, everybody.